Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and we are joined today by Dan Anglin, the CEO of Cannamerica Brands, which, by the way, rolls right off the tongue. Today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, cannabis. So first of all, I thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent. So for far too long, the cannabis markets have been heavily stifled by governments, and in recent days, we're seeing a massive market start to finally take off as pressure is withdrawn to a certain extent, though still federally prohibitive, of course. How big of an industry do you see cannabis being down the line, assuming that the market is free and open enough?
That's a very good question, Josh. So cannabis itself, separate from the hemp-based CBD global marketplace, continues to grow around the world. And I think what's happening, in the last 10 years is that not only have governments seen an opportunity to create economic prosperity in their local government, their state government, and now, for countries, their federal government, but additionally, the largest demographic of these products is people 50 and over. And I think it's because most people see the natural alternative for getting a better night's sleep, feeling better, increasing their appetite, and just overall having that opportunity to have something else to consume besides the things that they've been able to consume for a long time. And then, of course, the opportunities for veterans and other people with serious issues to have that real freedom to choose natural cannabis or hemp-based alternatives over opioids or barbiturates or those types of products, I think is really just opening the world to cannabis. And of course, with the United States getting on board in the Farm Bill and passing the legalization of interstate commerce for hemp-based products, I think just kind of opened the world up for all of these American hemp farmers, manufacturers, and distributors.
And of course, I've done a little bit of research into this subject, if you know what I mean. This is a really big industry that's starting to open up at a wide scale, something that a lot of us have been kind of sitting on and watching start to develop for quite some time now. And I wanted to ask you about this because I remember years ago hearing people claim that CBD was a miracle for many illnesses, and the same claims were laughed at by many for many years. And I noticed this notion that cannabis could be good for you. Many saw it as a stereotypical, stoners trying to justify their use. However, in recent years, CBD and THC have been further recognized by scientists and doctors to truly have a lot of incredible medical properties. Can you talk about the potential use of CBD and THC and what you think the future is for both in the medical world?
Those are great questions. So, scientists and doctors in Israel and Switzerland and virtually everywhere besides North America have been studying legitimately the effects of cannabis, THC, and the known dozens of compounds inside the cannabis plant, CBD, CBN, CBGs, THCAs, THCVs, on and on and on. We're finding more compounds through research every day, given the fact that the stigma of doctors and scientists actually looking at this plant has dropped, and I think what we're seeing is that there are certain things that people suffer from that CBD alone will not provide them with that remedy. There's a famous man out there named Rick Simpson who created Rick Simpson oil, and he continues to pound the drum that CBD alone does not cure some of these eczemas and some of these cancers and some of these other things that, anecdotally, there's been cures, reverses. But what we're seeing is that the combination of THC and CBD, whether it be a 1-to-1, meaning the same amount of THC as CBD, or continuing on 5-to-1, 20-to-1, 100-to-1, just depends on which way you're going, that for the endocannabinoid system that's in the human body already, these different types of elixirs that have been put together with the various compounds have, in some cases, miraculous results. And I think the biggest problem for production and manufacturers and people who are creating products is health claims. It's going to be many years before the United States and Canada and the United Kingdom and others allow for these claims to be printed on the packaging and advertised, by the companies. But we've waited a long time to get where we're at now, and another 5 to 10 years is, not something that people are going to be dissuaded by. So I think the tip of the iceberg is all that we've seen in the types of products and the types of businesses and the types of remedies for ailments that cannabis provides, whether it's eliminating addiction, reversing Alzheimer's, preventing Alzheimer's, autism, cancer, skin conditions, glaucoma. The list is too long for our podcast.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of evidence, for example, of Parkinson's disease that's just unbelievable, and it's helped so many people get around these serious nervous system ailments that there's countless videos on the internet of people trying, little trial studies of different forms, strains of cannabis and CBD, and their shaking goes down. And I mean, it's hard to debate that. I mean, it's not that it's going to work for everybody, but you could see it working for some people, and that should be enough for a lot of people to look at that and go, wow, this could be a miracle in a lot of ways. And we need to make the most of the opportunities that come with something like this, helping people with something like Parkinson's or cancer, you name it. But before we look into the future and Cannamerica, I wanted to kind of ask you just quickly, what got you to research cannabis in the first place? What got you interested in this field?
Well, I've been a consumer for a long time. I'm almost 50, and I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and cannabis consumption was something that pretty much every young person was exploring at those times. And then after my time in the Marine Corps, I served in the Marine Corps from 1988 to 1992. And once I got out of the Marine Corps, I went right back to consuming cannabis and started a career in government affairs, worked in a couple of different state legislatures, drafting legislation after college, and served as a registered lobbyist for 10 years in the state of Colorado. And the entire time I was consuming cannabis. And, I think it just, as 2009, here in Colorado, the medical program was created. In 2011, they began to issue licenses and regulations for medical businesses. And I had an opportunity prior to Amendment 64, which created the recreational use for adults over the age of 21. And I had an opportunity to get involved with the world's first licensed marijuana business. Their license number was 00001. And while there were plenty of businesses around the world, places like Amsterdam were not issuing licenses. So this was literally the first licensed company, and I became a co-owner. I wasn't a founder of that company, and I've been involved ever since, even though my career as a lobbyist was likely at jeopardy to get involved in it. I just decided in my late 30s that it was really time for me to take a hard look at where this was going for society and for our state. And with my experience in the political arena, and I've owned multiple businesses prior to getting into cannabis, I just thought that this was the right time for me to take a stance on something I truly believed in. And with my background in the military and my background in politics, I really kind of approached this more from the side of the freedom for adults and patients to have access to what they want and what they need. And, that's why we formed the company in 2015 of Americana, which is now Cannamerica. And our slogans have always been around freedom, and our concept has always been around freedom, because even if it's virtually a a true medical need, it's still about the freedom to have access to that. And for veterans
Sure.
in the United States, right now, if they choose to consume medical cannabis, they're putting their veterans' rights at risk. And let's say that veteran has a prosthetic, that's a very important benefit because those prosthetics have to be replaced. So these are things that Congress needs to address, as well as all the business issues and the freedom issues. And unfortunately, we're not going to go down the road of decriminalization. The hemp path was forged by the Farm Bill, which means more regulation under the United States Department of Agriculture and the Food and Drug Administration. And my prediction is that cannabis will go the same route, and I don't know when. Hopefully soon, because we're going through a lot of efforts as a community of cannabis supporters to put these things on the ballots in every one of these states, or get this into the legislature for politicians to make that decision. And I think it's just time, when you've got 60% of the United States is legal in some form and our neighbors in Canada have legalized both medical and recreational, and our neighbors to the south in Mexico have now decided that medical cannabis is something to pursue, and likely recreational cannabis. So we're surrounded by freedom in the land of the free, and yet we don't have it.
Yeah,
And
it's really strange because I'm from Canada. I'm living in Nevada, and it's strange because it's legal in Nevada. Technically, you can smoke cannabis in Nevada, but then with the federal laws, it's always tricky because a lot of tourists come to a place like Las Vegas and they're not aware of the laws, and you can smoke cannabis on one street, but then you go to the next and it's under federal jurisdiction, and suddenly you can get arrested. It's really strange. It's on shaky ground, so it's definitely something people need to be educated on. I wanted to just go a bit into Cannamerica here because it's publicly traded, and I wanted to ask you first to go into what Cannamerica is and your strategy for generating large margins.
Yeah, thank you. So, having been a part of one of the first cannabis businesses ever created, and my original company was also a confections company. We were the first to make cannabis gummies. When I went and launched Cannamerica with my business partner Frank, we focused on gummies. We felt that concentrates and confections in a bite-sized chewy form with metered dosing and limited amounts of THC in each serving was the way that adults would have this experience with edibles and with concentrates, that was comfortable for them and provided them with good quality product. We were the first company to actually use a more expensive process called distillation instead of food grade oil for our products. And we continue to innovate. We were because of my background in policy, we were the first to create a recognizable product. Our gummies are shaped like a leaf. And we were the first to stamp THC on the product so that law enforcement officers, school resource officers, parents, and just anybody looking at the candy that has any recognition of what a pot leaf looks like and what the words THC means would know instantly what it is, and also to create a product that people who didn't know what those things were knew it was different somehow and didn't accidentally consume it. So with that, we created tremendous success in the state of Colorado. We have now entered into the state of Nevada. You can find us at any of your large retailers there in downtown Las Vegas. And we are also in Maryland, in the medical space in Maryland, and working on numerous new types of medical patient-based products, high potencies, high terpene profiles. And so what we did when we decided to expand, instead of going through the trouble of raising capital for a different operation in each state, we tried it. It was difficult. It was hard to find the money, and it was expensive to do in order to be a brand that was recognized around the country and hopefully the world. So what we created was an intellectual property company where we took all of our secrets, all of our processes, all of our branding, which we've trademarked. I'm currently wearing one of our trademark logos right now, and put that into the intellectual property company. And that is what we took public on the CSE, which is now on the OTC. On the CSE, you can find us under the ticker CANA, Canna, and on the OTC, CNNXF. So, I think where we're headed is we've dived into the hemp space. Earlier this month, we created a joint venture with LP in Canada, Invictus MD, and another company, CBD Distribution, to acquire a hemp processing facility here in Colorado. And we're currently evaluating and vetting other assets so that we can hopefully become vertically integrated in the hemp space and create global distribution for human-based CBD oil products, as well as pet animal-based CBD oil products. I think anybody who's ever owned a pet knows that as they get older, they start to suffer from aches and pains. And we've seen how this benefits humans, and we've also seen how it benefits animals. And, we want to take our experience in these spaces, our experience creating exciting products and brands that resonate with consumers, and put that into the global hemp market as well. And just bring, our experiences in cannabis everywhere we can, whether it's Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, wherever it may be, that the people decide that they want access to these products. We want to be there and provide them with the high quality products that we've developed over the last 9 years.
Yeah, it's certainly come a long way over the last 10 years. It's incredible how far the cannabis space has grown, and it's definitely a good thing. Now, for our viewers that are sophisticated investors, which we do have many here at World Alternative Media, can you go into the basics, like what market capitalization you have, cash, debt, and revenues for 2019?
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of highly valued companies out there that are making acquisitions. We came into the market on October 18th. So, it was timed with the legalization of recreational cannabis in Canada. And, since we now have a market cap, I think as far as Friday, $32 million. What we have is 52 million shares that are outstanding. And, I think the float on that is somewhere right around 14 million. And, we have done about $637,000 worth of releases shares to date. And, I think where we're at is we are a unique cannabis opportunity, because what we have done is virtually created the first cannabis licensing / franchise style model where operators, wherever they may be, can benefit from our experience, our equipment, our supply chain, our branding, and instantly add to their operations the opportunity to have a recognized brand that has been in the hottest markets in the US. I mean, Colorado and Nevada are extremely hot markets. And, have that opportunity to have an exciting menu of products coming out of their facility with, all of our know-how, all of our training, all of our marketing abilities, and all of our just supply chain expertise. We've been working to find the best products to bring to this industry for the last 9 years, looking from China for hardware to Eastern Europe for foodstuffs, and right here in the United States for techniques on certain types of confections. And so, I would say that we are experts in the field, and our approach to this was we didn't come in under an umbrella. This CANA is strictly this company, and what you've got is you've got a sensible approach to introducing a cannabis brand into both of the exchange marketplaces, and you've got real sensibility in our valuation. And as the Q1 comes to a close, I think you're going to see some exciting developments and announcements from our company based on all the things that we're working on and our goals for 2019. So we intend to be a real player that has assets that are tangible. And, with this model, we don't have a lot of overhead. So we're profitable, And our margins are you used to say in cannabis, the margins are unlike anything you've ever seen. Well, because we don't have the infrastructure for cultivation and the infrastructure for real estate, because this is a licensing based on a royalty fee payment, our overhead is clearly just experts and the supply chain. So our opportunities to grow the brand and create revenue generation should be exciting to your listeners. And we really are a company to watch.
It's one of the number one questions we get here is gold, silver, and cannabis, and it's so I hear it all the time. Now, can you talk a bit about your team members and the background of your team members? Because I was looking on your website, it looks like there's a lot of expertise involved here.
There are a lot of expertise. We added Nitin Kazel on our board as the board chair, and Nitin's a partner at PwC, and I think that what that brings is a lot of legitimacy from that Canadian business marketplace, which is where we, really focused when we decided to go public, was Canada, and so that was really a fantastic addition to our team. Patrick Gray comes to us from the tech world, and so he brings that knowledge of the boom and bust of tech, which I think is probably something that's happening in a microcosm on a monthly basis in the cannabis space, right? As these corporations start to be formed and M&As start to happen in the cannabis space, you see some folks who are nimble and can make it happen, and others who can't. And primarily that's because of the makeup of the team and the level of experience. Of course, the co-founder of the company, my business partner, Frank Falconer, he's been involved in multiple cannabis businesses, some that have been public, and his experience in marketing and just overall building relationships in the space was invaluable to me. So when I left Edipure, Frank was my first choice. And then, of course, Diana Anglin, who is our chief strategy officer, has 25 years of experience with dealing in the regulated higher education field, which is extremely important for a highly regulated industry like cannabis and soon to be highly regulated industry like hemp. That we have those members of the team who fully understand how we navigate not only the business world, but also the compliance of the law. And then, of course, Austin Sims is our biochemist, and he's, I fondly refer to him as my weed wizard, regardless of what I come up with for a product or other members of my team. Austin finds a way utilizing pharmaceutical grade equipment, such as metered dosing. That's how we do our confection products. And in fact, we're going to be bringing out lines of microdosed products so that people can eat more than one piece here in the future. So, I think Joe Bancheri, our national brand manager, comes to us from the telecom sales world, and having represented some of the biggest telecom companies in the United States, I think really gives Joe some insight into how we need to take the next steps with the consumer to elevate our position of professionalism in our messaging, and also, just a direct relationship with all of our clients and retailers and consumers. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't add Darwin Productions, who does all of our investor relations and has created some amazing content for getting our story into the shareholders, down to our PR firm, Grasslands, which is headed by Ricardo Baca, and anybody who has been paying attention to the cannabis space at a national level for the last few years knows exactly who Ricardo Baca is. He's the original founder of the Cannabist of the Denver Post, which was the first cannabis-based editorial column that turned into a whole section of the Denver Post years ago. So our team is very full. We continue to add to it. We're building our army of Cannamericans across the United States, and hopefully soon across the world.
Hmm. I can't believe you got that name, Cannamerica. That's a good name to have in this space. It's I can't imagine it was easy to get. But one of the biggest parts, of course, of these opportunities is the team members. So I had to ask because obviously that's a huge part in motivating people to get involved. I wanted to ask you, closing it off though, for the investors out there, can you let them know where they could reach out to you guys and find out more information?
Absolutely. So if you go to our website, www.cannamerica.brands.com, and hopefully you'll be able to put that out there, because if I go ahead and spell that, that'll take us like 12 minutes. But if you go to cannamerica.brands.com, all the information to reach out to our investor relations team, anything you need to know about the company, Google my name. I have been a high profile cannabis entrepreneur for many years and many different subject areas, whether it's legalization or continued regulations, or now just the movement of our company and the things that we're doing and the places that we're going. So, we're on social media as Cannamerica Co., Cannamerica Brands. Actually, it's funny you mentioned how hard it would have been to get Cannamerica. We actually first owned Americana, and people started to use that name in other markets. And instead of suing them, we sat down in a room with a whiteboard and started playing around with our name while a lawyer was looking everything up for us. And somebody in the room spit out Cannamerica, and I was like, that's brilliant. And it was available. So we bought every website, instantly trademarked both Cannamerica and Americana, and all of our logo imagery and our slogans, such as brand of the free, home of the crave, taste the freedom, be free. I think you can see the common thread there is, right now we are celebrating the freedom adults and patients have to make choices, and we'll continue to celebrate that as we move forward, and not let people forget 10 years from now what things were like prior to early 2000s, when people started making good choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one more question. It just came to me now. I'm just thinking about it because it was a couple months ago that we heard that Jeff Sessions was out. Do you think that we're looking at more optimism going forward at a federal level, possibly?
Well, I mean, the government shutdown ended last night or this morning, and I think the Department of Justice under the Trump administration, since um, former Attorney General Sessions stepped down, has come out and said that they aren't going to take any action in states that have gone to legalization, no matter what level of legalization that is. That's a kind of an echo of the Cole memo from the Obama era, which we formed all our companies on. So that gives me confidence, and I think with how polarized Congress and the U.S. is in general politically, it's going to be difficult to get people's attention on important policy issues like freedom of choice for medical, and freedom of use for adults, while they can't even agree on whether or not the United States should be open for business. So what I hope is, as the election comes, these politicians start looking at polls again and see that cannabis and hemp are more popular than all of them put together.
Yeah.
That, perhaps there'll be President Trump has proven himself to make decisions on the fly, or at least appearingly on the fly. So how great would it be for the 2020 presidential campaign to start off with an executive order from the president, demanding Congress fix this or decriminalizing it? I don't know. A crystal ball on American politics right now, anybody who says they know the future is I don't know how,
Yeah.
because it's such a scramble day to day to keep up with what they're doing. But
Yeah.
hopefully logic and reason rule the day, and I think that the economic prosperity that's been built in the places where recreational has led, and the miraculous changes in people's lives in the places where medical marijuana has been allowed, I think is reason enough for the United States and other countries. I mean, honestly, The Philippines just did medical marijuana,
Mhm.
and their president was executing people for being involved in large-scale drug trades. So, there should be hope, and I have hope. And in the meantime, we're working where it's legal. We're not working where it isn't, and our plans are to be there when it is.
Mm.
So, I think that's all one can hope for. And anybody who's been involved in cannabis for years is got to be, thankful that they're around for this era where you can walk into a store in some states and some countries and make a legal purchase and take it home. Consumption's next, right? So,
Yeah.
I hear a lot of folks who are complaining about big businesses. Hey, this is manufacturing. This is large scale farming. This is large scale distribution. This takes big business to do these things. Where the small businesses come in is consumption. Once we get over the consumption issue, you're going to see restaurants that have these themes. You're going to see beverage bars that have these types of themes of CBD and cannabis-based drinks. And you're just going to see destination experiences, resorts and hotels, and hopefully theme parks. I'd go to Weedland, right?
Most of us
So,
would.
these things, there's still opportunity. We've just started to scratch the surface. And I think the biggest mistake that the media and the markets, they're so focused on what's happened today. We just started, right? The idea is find the right team, find somebody with the right vision, and make that investment in them, because they're going places, and so is this industry.
Totally. And you mentioned the crystal ball. I mean, I don't think most of us could have imagined even 4 years ago that Donald Trump would be president. So who are we to expect what's going to happen 4 or 5 years down the line? One thing I know for sure is that, especially in the last 10 years, we're seeing both the left and right kind of support the cannabis markets a lot more than we did in the past. It was a more polarized issue way back when, but these days I find conservatives and liberals alike that I speak to have nothing against cannabis anymore. It's kind of like they're starting to balance out and unite on that issue for the most part, at least what I'm seeing anyway.
It's a matter of liberty, right, Josh? It really is. It's a matter of liberty, and all the lies that were told from the Nixon era through, the beginning of the Obama era have just been disproven, right? I mean, there is no death in the streets with wide scale availability of cannabis for adults. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, this isn't reefer madness where the guy's playing the piano like a crazy person and killing someone. It's just that doesn't happen. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, the last 10 years have moved so fast. It's incredible. We could only imagine what it's going to be like 10 years from now. I'm very optimistic about it. I think it's going to in a good direction overall. So I think we should be excited about it. And I really appreciate you joining us today, Dan. And I hope everyone checks out Cannamerica. I will leave the links below in the comments and a description for everyone to check out and get involved if you wish. Of course, everyone do your own due diligence. Lots of information on their website regarding this topic and more. So make sure to check that out. And I really appreciate your time today, Dan, and hope to speak with you again.
Josh, it's been a pleasure. Great questions, great conversation. I hope to talk to you again soon, and your listeners too.
Excellent. Thank you. Like what you see here, OM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored on YouTube, as these guys come in and flag all of our content as hate speech. Also, check out our Bitcoin address below as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also check us out at steemit.com. We're at Josh Sigurdson. It's a future of social media where you get paid in the upvote of your post in cryptocurrency, Steem that is. So make sure to check us out there. Make sure to join us at Anarchapulco 2019 with people like Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin, of course, Jeff Berwick, Vid Jedlicka. So many incredible speakers are going to be speaking. It's just a massively growing event. It is something you have to see to believe. So make sure to check it out below and save money on your tickets by using promo code WHAM, that's WAM, and I hope to see you there. Also, check out our newsletter as we are getting demonetized and censored and all that. We don't know what comes next, so we have an email, worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. Send us an email with subject line YES, YES, and we will include you in the newsletter where we will continuously keep you updated. So until next time, thanks for watching, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.
Bye.